everyone. Thanks for joining us today for Business Owner Spotlight, where we meet local business owners and just learn about how they serve the community in great ways. And today we have a great pleasure of having Mr. Mark Walker with Eden Terrace Self-Storage with us. And we're just going to get a chance to talk with Mark and learn a little bit about his business, what's unique, and how he serves folks. So Mark, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
All right, thank you. Glad to be here.
Talk to us a little bit about the types of folks, what they're looking for when they come into your place.
Okay, well, we've got storage units and we've got parking in the back. The market is usually within a 3-mile radius.
Okay.
So a lot of our market comes from the new Riverwalk community. That area has their HOAs will not allow them to park campers or boats, things like that. So we've got an area in the back just for that, and we've got a lot of customers that come from there. They use our parking area, which is we've got the parking spaces angled so that it's easy to get in and to get out. It's not a 90-degree turn. Our parking is graveled, so it helps the water to drain, so it's not standing under the tires if things are going to be parked there for long periods. I think that's a plus to have that there. If it was paved, the pavement gets really hot, water will stand under the tires, and it's just not good for the rubber.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Those are two things I really wouldn't even thought about. I've stored boats before, and I've thought about, well, I don't know if I want to put it on a gravel lot, but then when you think about it, my gosh, the amount of money I've spent replacing tires on boats, it's really scary.
Yeah.
So.
And the asphalt gets really hot too. It's not good for anything really.
Yeah, it does. Well, what I thought I'd do is I'm going to pull over a picture of your facility here in just a second off of Google Maps so folks can see it real quick. All right, so Mark, look, I was looking through here, and one of the things that surprised me is just how new your facility is. I mean, it looks really great. Get the security fencing and everything.
Right.
So you're really proud of having a place like that.
We are. We've only been opened a year and a half. We opened last January, and all that gravel area you saw in the back, those pictures were taken before we opened. So all that gravel is where our parking is now.
Okay.
And
is that what you were talking about with an area that doesn't rot the tires and bake the tires?
That's right.
Okay. Awesome. So now this place has only been open for a short period, so everything's new and bright, and it's probably a great value. How long have you been in the business? You and I talked before, and this isn't your first rodeo.
Right. Yeah. My wife and I got into self-storage about 13 years ago with a smaller facility, and decided to go a little bigger.
Yeah.
A business I could retire into. So we were able to get this place built through a small business association loan. And we sold the other smaller place to help us be able to make some, have some working capital while we were getting this place going. So right now, this is our only place. We're small business. We're small, even though it may look big, we're still one of the smaller self-storage facilities in the area. Yeah, local mom and pop. Some of the chains, they are probably, most of them are about 3 times as large as we are. They just build them big. They want them big.
What do you think are some of the advantages of being a little bit of a smaller organization and privately owned? Not to put anything down about the big companies, but there's a reason why people have choices, right? So what are some of the benefits of locally owned or not as these big behemoth lots that you see, the conversions of department stores and things like that? What's the advantage of what you do?
Well, because we're part of the community here, we care about our reputation. We want to make sure that our customers are satisfied. We want to be able to solve their problems if they have any here, and we're able to make decisions on the spot. We don't have to wait for word from corporate somewhere, who knows where, maybe located with the chains. We can make decisions right away.
Boy, that's a big win. I can't tell you how many times big businesses are great for certain things, but it's really frustrating when you have a personal need and you're waiting on somebody who doesn't even live in the area to make a decision. And in the meanwhile, you're just sitting around on your hands or worse.
Right.
So that's really refreshing to hear. It's one of the reasons we do this spotlight is to just to focus on the advantages of small business. And you mentioned, you care, you have to care, right? This is your business and your livelihood. So if you don't take care of customers, your business isn't going to do well.
That's right.
You can't just replace the manager.
That's right.
So let's talk about that a little bit more in terms of feedback or testimonials. When your customers tell you what they like about your place, and I've seen some of your reviews, they're fantastic. What types of things do you hear most commonly?
Probably one of the top review is cleanliness. Because we are new, of course it looks new, but we try to keep it that way too. We want to keep the floor swept. If there's any spills, things like that on the floor, we want to get that stuff cleaned up right away.
Right.
We're always picking up trash that's blowing in from the streets and all that. We just try to keep it clean and new looking because people really enjoy that. They also like that that we've got one gate and it's right here in front of the office. We can see everybody coming and going. Keypad you have to have a code to get in as well as to get out. So that's another security feature.
Right.
If someone is able to sneak in behind someone else, they would still have to sneak out behind someone else as well, which makes it harder.
Yeah.
Someone shouldn't be here.
So you mentioned a little bit about technology there. How does your technology compare to some of the bigger organizations? I think there's the perception, at least years ago, that big companies can afford technology, small companies can't. But that's changing a lot, isn't it? It
has changed. Yeah. The management software program that we use to run everything basically here is a global product. Most all the chains use this. It's available to every self-storage operator if they choose to use it, and we're able to offer the same features that any of the chains offer through that. And of course we have cameras placed throughout the property as well, so that's another security feature people like.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great time to be a smaller business because so many of the things that used to separate or give big companies an advantage are gone now. Anybody can have a website. You've got a great website, and the technology now, more and more companies are focusing their technologies to smaller businesses because they know that's where the growth is, and they know that that's where the growth of the economy is.
Right.
So, I guess one thing, also a myth sometimes is, well, if you do business with the bigger companies, they're just going to have better prices because they have all these economies of scale. And thought maybe I'd give you an opportunity to talk about that a little bit before we wrap up. How do you price? I know some of the times the big companies, they just have no flexibility. It's buy it or hit the highway. So talk to us a little bit about how you compare price-wise and flexibility-wise, terms and conditions.
Right. We're always looking to see what the other chains are charging, and we try to beat their prices. We want to be a little bit better than them. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they may have a special we just can't compete with, but it's not often. Right. Usually our prices are better because we can change them regularly. Some of the chains, they have to wait for the corporate to say, go ahead and change. But a lot of them may not want to change at all. They can afford to sit back and keep their prices steady at all times. And we want to keep our facility filled, so we're constantly changing our prices as needed to fill, to get some of our sizes filled. If we have especially if we have more of one size than another available, we want to get those filled.
Well, that's the neat thing about having your own business is, you don't have these huge franchise fees to pay, all this corporate overhead. It's you and your wife and anybody else who you might bring along to help you out from time to time.
Right. Yeah.
So that really cuts down on the overhead, and people are finding more and more that smaller businesses can compete, and without all that overhead, in a lot of cases, they offer a better value. So is there anything else you want to share just with the local community or the audience that you think that they might be interested in terms of doing business with you or your organization? One question I did want to ask you is, what are you near? You've got there's some big plans coming in Rock Hill, so I thought I'd give you a chance to talk about that a little bit too.
Sure. We're on Eden Terrace, and we're just right down the street from where the Panthers are going to be building their training facility. And just this week, Eden Terrace has started to get repaved after all these years, and it's going to be great to have a new road out here.
Yeah,
I think it's necessary. You don't want to have a terrible road going into the Panthers training facility, so that's going to benefit us as well. Like I said, we're really close, so we're small business, and we hope that the community will support small businesses.
Yeah,
especially one like ours and all the others out there that locally owned and operated. We have a harder time than the chains and the mega corporations surviving. Yeah. So we depend on the community for support.
Yeah. Well, Mark, that's really great. I appreciate you spending some time with us. And folks who have joined us, there's information that'll be in the front end of this video and at the end of this interview to tell you how to get in touch with Mark and learn more about his wonderful, nice facility there and doing business with Eden Terrace Self-Storage. So, Mark, thanks again for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thanks, Mike.